Welcome to On the Mic with Shaz, the podcast where we flip the script on women in tech leadership and shine a light on the upsides with our special series, Women in Tech Leadership, The Upsides. I'm your host, Sharon Daly. Please call me Shaz. It's Sharon when I'm in trouble for something. I help women build tech careers that makes them look forward to Mondays. And here we talk about what's truly possible when you step into the driver's seat of your career. Each week, we get real with women who've done just that. Trailblazing leaders who share not just the challenges, but the joys, the wins, and the freedoms they've unlocked by choosing to lead. So grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and let's dive in. I'm so excited today because we're joined by Shivangi Singal. Hi, Shivangi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me here, Sharon.
Of
You're not
course.
in trouble. I just called you Sharon.
Good pickup. Let me tell you a little bit about Shivangi, listeners. So Shivangi is the head of engineering at REA Group, bringing over 15 years of experience leading large-scale technology and digital transformation initiatives. She is a recognized advocate for women in technology and a finalist at the Women in Tech Awards, known for her ability to build high-performing, inclusive teams while driving business impact. Shivangi combines strategic vision with a practical, people first approach to leadership, inspiring teams to deliver excellence with authenticity and purpose. Her focus on innovation, quality, and collaboration continues to shape the future of technology leadership. Shivangi, let's now get chatting to you. Let's get deep here.
Thank you. Thanks for such a warm introduction. I am very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations for such an inspiring career journey.
Thank you. It means a lot.
So let's get the listeners to know you a little bit better. Okay. So you've gone from writing code as a developer in India to leading engineering at scale in Melbourne. What's one pinch me moment that still makes you smile when you look back on it?
Good question. I think for me, I pinch myself all the time. I'll be honest, because there's so many pinch me moments. But one which really, really made me pinch myself twice or thrice was when I got into a head of engineering role. That has been my aim for last couple of years. And finally, when I got that role like 2.5 years ago, I really had to pinch myself because once I was having a coffee, a walk, and I was just smiling to myself that I never imagined that going from like a clumsy coder back in 2006 would be leading a team of 40 plus engineers in Melbourne. So I think that was the real where I was smiling to myself, and in my head I was like, thank you. So I think, and I'll share more about how I got there because it won't be fair to say that I did it by all myself, right? So
Oh, yeah.
we'll get to talk about it later in the podcast. But yeah, that was my pinch me moment.
I love that. And it's such a great reflection as well because you do work hard to get there. And while you don't know yet or have a crystal ball where it's going to land, it is a pinch me when you get there. And for you, I know it's not about the title, it's about what it all means for you.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you're not driving strategy and transformation teams, then what lights you up outside of work? Is it yoga? Is it travel, music? What's your go-to recharger?
I think for me, the biggest recharger is going for trail walking, and I love exploring new trails. I get bored if I go to the same place for walk. So I try like within Melbourne or within my side of the where I live, I have explored all the trails. And there is an ongoing joke with my family that I drive to walk. So I love driving 40 minutes, 1 hour to find a new trail just by myself with
Wow.
my AirPods and my favorite pink bottle. Those are my two companions. And that's a way for me to just reset and from all the digital world. And yes, I do listen to music, so I'm not fully disconnected, but I think it's more about it gives me a time to just go and wander around. And it doesn't cost much apart from I spend on petrol just for
Yeah.
walking. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's my way.
And connecting with nature is just as powerful as connecting
Yes,
with
it is.
music, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And did that come about when you moved to Melbourne, or did you have that in India as well?
I think I would say that it came about more when I moved to Melbourne, and it became more apparent that I need that me time as I started stepping into more leadership roles because I think I needed to be strong for my team and vulnerable at the same time. But then I needed to find some peace time for myself just to reset myself. And to be honest, when I was in India, my son was like two and a half. I never got time. And that time, I was like maybe 25, 26. And the culture at that time was not about finding your me time. So I think I have grown as a human, as a person, that I need to take care of myself if I have to take care of my family and even my team. So I think I learned that along my journey. And when I was in India, I didn't think about taking care of myself as much as I do right now.
Yeah, that's refreshing to hear. I applaud you for that because self care is so important, particularly when you're in leadership. And like you said, protecting your energy so that you can show up with the right energy for your team and for your
Yes,
family. Because
that's
bear in
true.
mind, your personal journey and your professional journey, they go hand in hand. And we do have to be careful we don't neglect one for the other. And so I really admire that. And it's very refreshing to hear that you, and it's not easy to do, let me add, to reprogram away from that busy and from that
Yes.
you must work hard, you must be stressed at all times.
I think on that particular note, also, I must add that I am of the firm belief that nobody is ever too busy. It's all about setting your priorities.
Yes.
So for me, finding time for yourself should be one of the priorities in this day and age, irrespective of the gender. Because if we as parents do that, we set that example for our kids. As a leader, we set those examples for our team as well. So I think for me, nobody's ever too busy. It's more about prioritizing what do you want to do and just not make an excuse that you're too busy.
Beautifully put. It's so true because when you hear that busy, I do respect people saying it because you do get used to and you're programmed that direction. So a lot of my sessions I do with women in leadership roles, it comes up a lot, the busy. And then when we start prioritizing, what are
Yes,
you actually busy with? And where you put your energy is either going to burn you out or it's going to elevate and make you a better leader that, like you said, Shivangi, that your team can feel that you're protecting your
yes,
energy. So then they know I'm in safe hands. This person has got me and I'm going to show up for them and I'm going to show up for
yes,
myself. And it's important. If you're trapped in busy, it means you're on autopilot. It means you're going to be reactive. So I think it's super impressive and inspiring to hear you say that you're doing that. And but I can really also relate and respect others who haven't got there yet and are are doing their best to readjust and reprogram to get there.
Oh, I completely agree. As I said, I was not doing that till 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I was not doing myself. So I can completely understand the other side as well. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying I've got this. I
Yeah.
still don't do it. Like
Yeah.
early this year, I had one of my colleagues at work, and I think you're too stressed. You're not prioritizing your health. And that was like, oh. So as you said, the teams can feel it.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I'm with you. I respect them, and it's more about making a conscious choice, and we don't always get it right. But it's
Yeah.
more about knowing what is right and what's wrong.
Yeah. And it's two things, right? You respect them, but you also respect yourself and you
Yeah.
respect your body and you respect your mind and you respect your family enough that you're going to not get stuck in the trap of busy. You're going to
Yes,
get,
that's true.
you're following the path that takes you to an energy that makes you feel great about yourself. Yeah. And being that best version. Because let's be honest, we're human and we thrive to be the best version of ourselves. And then once upon a time, I wasn't the best version of myself. So guess what I did? I gossiped about other people. I
Yeah.
brought them down because I was insecure about myself and I wasn't putting the work in. I was busy and I wasn't putting the work into myself that they were putting in. They
Yeah,
were putting the work in, and I was bitter and resentful that they were doing what I couldn't bring myself to do. So
that's true.
now I'm able to look back in that and cringe and go, oh my goodness. But again, I'm human and I had different stages of myself. And luckily, I'm at a lovely stage now where I'm not like that at all. And I'm a big believer in not judging people and their journeys because you have no idea what people are going through personally and professionally. You might look at a leader like yourself or any of us women or regardless of gender in our leadership roles, you might look in and say it's easy for them. It's it just works out for them. They're lucky, but you don't realize what is personally showing up for them and they're still navigating this and still pushing through. So have respect and instead of comparing yourself, say, I look up to them and what can I do to get there myself?
Yes, that's so good and so true.
Yeah. So let's move on then. I mentioned earlier that your biggest thing on your journey is reimagining engineering for growth.
Yeah.
Reimagining engineering sounds bold, and I love that. I'm here for it. What does that actually mean day to day for you and your teams then? And how do you keep innovation alive when delivery pressure is real?
Mm. Um, I must say you're very observant because I have this over on my LinkedIn profile, and so thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think when I say reimagining engineering, it's not a fancy slogan, right? And it's more about that how do we start rethinking on how do we build? When I say build, it's more about software, it's more about building people, it's more about building culture, everything. It's more about how do we build. And as you said, day to day, it means like teams can deliver fast because we all serve a business and have a purpose there. And at the same time, we should be able to feel proud. As a leader, I should be proud of what my teams have achieved or what we have achieved together. And that is as a developer or as a BAs, SQAs, all of them should be feeling proud of whatever they have delivered. So, how do we do it is more about empowering the teams on how they can take autonomous decisions and how we should create a shortened feedback loops so that we can constantly learn and evolve. And the utmost important thing is building the culture where quality and innovation are not afterthoughts. We can't just ship code when we are not building it for quality as well. So for me, I think it's more about that wholesome picture where we teams operate. And you rightly said that the delivery pressure is very high and very common, right? It's always on. So I think I always remind my teams that innovation is not about coming up with a fancy framework, always using the fancy framework, because not all the projects are green projects, right? So it's more about that could be sometimes simplifying a process or fixing a bug which has been there for a long time, or just making a life easier for the next person who's going to come and do the job. So it's not about just using fancy technologies. What is at the heart is the people. So if you, as a leader, I invest in my people's, and that leads to that innovation, achieving business outcomes, all that stuff will become the side effect of it. Because if you make people feel like that they are important and you value into their growth, like when they work on an initiative or any of the business outcome, yes, we do explain them that what is the business outcome we're going to achieve. But if you at the same time you start making it visible, what is in it for them? What do they want to achieve from that? So it becomes like by doing this, I get to achieve this as well, personally for my growth. So I think it's a combination of all those things when I look at as reimagining engineering. So it's not about just technology alone.
I admire that so much because you know what that says to me? You are completely removed from ego, and that takes a lot of work. Because let's be honest, and I think I like your approach to leadership. You're authentic, you're purposeful, and there's no fluff with you. You have this holistic approach where it's about your people, and it's so beautiful to have that energy and that thought process of building, giving autonomy, the feedback loop, because that's so important because you're giving them, they're part of it, they're really involved with you. And I really admire that, and I think it's such a wonderful thing that you've removed ego from the whole situation and you've made it this holistic journey together, and you all enjoy it and have fun. And I just admire that so much.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah. And I say that like this is new news, but you'll be surprised how many leaders I've come across who do not lead this way. That's why this is lovely to hear your holistic approach to it. And I think more and more as I do these episodes with Women in Tech Leadership, like my soul and my heart is just getting fuller and fuller and bursting. And like, how have we not known this?
Yeah. I think everyone knows it. I think it's more about putting things into perspective, and everyone is at a different journey. And I also believe that your past experiences make you the leader you are. Like my past experiences has not been that great as well in some circumstances. And that taught me what kind of a leader I don't want to be. So I think it's just about your past experiences also shapes you, the leader or that any professional in your business. Like I'm sure, Sharon, your previous experiences have molded you into the host you are today, right? As compared to any other host. So I think for me, it's all about that as well.
Yeah, it's so true because I've been on a journey and I've worked in traditionally male dominant environments for 20 years. Once upon a time, I used to be like, why is this happening to me? You know, this is so hard. It's so difficult. Now I look back and go, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
that. Because had I not gone through that journey, how could I now sit in my seat and think I can help other women in tech? I can't
that's true.
say that unless I've sat in that seat myself. And I've been talking to women individually in these tech roles for 15 years now. So how, like, it would be so ignorant of me to put myself in a position where I'm coaching and mentoring women in these positions had I not known and sat there myself or listened to others individually what they're going through. And that's why I have this podcast is a spotlight individually on women in tech leadership, on what's showing up for us in this space nowadays, modern version, instead of what's in the headlines and
Yeah,
what's on social media, what's really showing up now. I think where this all stemmed from, Shivangi, is I was having conversations with women who are having wonderful experiences, and some have challenges, but they're not necessarily what we think, like systemic or biases, but some do. But we can't put a band-aid across every single person. They're all individually experiencing something different. And I think over the past 15 years, I've learned that through that lens. So it was bothering me just maybe a little bit, just a little bit of seeing on social media how hard it is, how challenging it is when you have wonderful women like you who, yeah, it's challenging, but you turn that challenge into something beautiful for your team and for the organization that you work for.
no, thank you. I appreciate it. I think, as you said, that you have worked in when you started your career, it was a male dominated. Like, it's not very uncommon for me to hear that when people see head of engineering, right? It's easy for them to assume that it was all planned and it was very smooth. It was linear. Like, I know I got this, I was getting this done, and it was working very smoothly. But the people who knows me and people who have been curious about my journey and or my family, they would know that it's anything but smooth, right? So starting out in India, writing code, and then trying to understand why we are doing what we are doing, then getting into that leadership mindset. It's all just my curiosity led me to from being a doer to an enabler or to be leading. But behind the scenes, it wasn't glamorous. Um, there were moments I doubted myself. I'll be very honest. I didn't think I got that into me. And then there was systematic bias where people made me believe that I'm not worthy of it. And there were moments, like real moments, where I had to navigate the bias and rumors as well, that what am I doing to get promotions? And those experiences broke me and they cut very, very deep. What got me through that phase was my family, because they anchor you, and my resilience, and some people around you who would make you believe in yourself when you don't believe in you, and they come in form of mentors. So for me, that every stretch I took, I was not comfortable, but I did take that stretch, and that has helped me in my journey. So it is more about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So for me, it's more, I just wanted to, by using this opportunity, because we started on that topic, I just wanted to say that just because you're seeing someone, irrespective of the gender, that someone has made a big move or a big career change, don't assume that their journey is anything but easy, because you don't know what's, and if you really want to know, have a chat to them.
Yeah.
Create that safe space for them to open up, and then you will see, and probably you can, next time when something like that happens, you can watch and stop that from that happening.
Thank you for sharing that, Shivangi, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate to what you're saying. And there's two ways you can go. And I had this choice as well in my career. One is hold on to it. And what I used to
Yeah,
call it is my little backpack. So I'd go
yeah,
from one traditionally male environment to the next one. And I'd have a little backpack with all my own biases too against men because of how I was treated. So I had my own biases too, but
yeah.
I also had the biases they had towards me in my little backpack going along to the next company. What I didn't realize is I was allowing that to block and put up walls for the next organization I was in. I didn't realize I was carrying that. Once I dropped those walls and biases, it then opened up a whole new world for me working in an environment with all genders. And I ended up just loving that world and that environment. And like you said, right, you can do the work on you, and there will be some people who are not doing work on themselves at all, but you can find the ones who are aligned with your values and just put your energy into them and just nod and smile at the others.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to
Protect
take
your
away that
energy.
backpack. I'm going to use that antidote backpack. I think that's really good. Thanks.
Oh, good. You can have that, Shivangi. That's my gift.
Thank you.
So when I see it coming up everywhere, I'll go, yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was carrying that backpack, and as soon as I let go of it, I became freer to enjoy my work world and my personal world too. It was hindering me and it was holding me back. And I think what my journey does now is, and why I do what I do, because I once wanted that support on my journey. So I would say now I remove those backpacks for women in tech. So I think that's one thing I'm super proud of now. That I think back of the little me that had my backpack, and now I'm doing that for others. So that's just a beautiful full circle.
Yes.
And that's what I've chosen, is instead of letting it defeat me and take over my future, I'm letting it make it a beautiful place and world that I can do for others instead. I know that sounds so corny. That sounds so corny. I might edit
No,
that out.
it's not. I think I would say that because we are talking openly about it, it's bringing that change as well. I truly believe it's not about bringing change for us. I think it's more about giving a better place for our kids or our next generation.
Yes.
So I think what you just said, it's not corny at all. So please don't edit it. I think it's more about we should feel proud of. I feel proud that there is. When I saw your invite, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go, and even if I inspire one person out there, we have made a small difference. So for me, I think it's more about making those small differences till it becomes a better world for our generations to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And look what we attract. I mean, I know, like, I've attracted you into my life. Like, you're absolutely wonderful. And I think I've attracted you into my podcast. I read your article on unconscious bias and we bonded over that. And I was telling you about my
Yeah,
experiences. And it just goes to show like our energies are attracted to each other because we've been on similar journeys and now we want to pay it forward and help
yeah,
others. Awesome. So listen, on that note, you've built a name for creating cultures where people want to show up.
yeah.
What's one leadership habit now, if we go on to habits or mindset shift, that's made the biggest difference in building belonging and performance in your teams?
Um, I think one thing I have tried to imbibe in my leadership style is the inclusiveness. And I'll start by giving an example of how I went onto that journey. When I started a leadership role, I was a doer. I used to do things and I knew how things get done. So earlier, when I started my leadership journey, I thought that it's all about having all the answers. But over the time, I think I learned that it's not about knowing the answers. It's more about creating space so that others can shine. And if, as a leader, you're going to have, if I'm building my team of leaders, if I'm going to bring everyone who looks like me, I'm not going to have a very diverse and inclusive leadership team. I'm just going to have some mini me's. And I think that's not how you should work, right? Because you need to have diverse opinions to be able to lead and to deliver the outcomes. And how I went about that change is listening to understand. And it's not about just listening, but listening with an intent. And I'm going to bring back to the people that when you genuinely hear people, they bring their best selves. It's not about saying big jargons, etc. It's more about talking to them and explaining them the purpose and try to hear what they want to say. And it's not a poster, it's not an initiative. Inclusiveness, there is no like a rule book to it. It's in everyday how you lead, how you work, how do you make decisions, and who gets the mic. Um, the more you bring people together and you create that space where every idea matters, and that's how you get everyone together to create that culture of we are in this together. Because let's be honest, as a leader, I have drove so many programs, and if anything is successful, it's not my win. Yes, I am the leader leading them, but I think I'm nothing without any one of them working in my team. So for me, it's more about creating that space for them to shine and thrive. But at the same time, as a leader, how do you react when things go wrong? Because things definitely go wrong. So how do you act at that point of time? And how do you lead? But can you change that when you lead by an example? For example, if I have done something wrong or if I have done a mistake in as a leader, I'm human. I do mistakes. It's more about how do you react to that? So my style, my preference is I own up to that. And when I own up to that publicly, then it creates a safe space for my team to own up to those mistakes as well. And the mindset change away from I'm going to get to be reprimanded for this failure or for this mistake to like, okay, this has happened. How can we do better so that it doesn't happen next time? So I think it's more about bringing that mindset, that inclusiveness in your leadership so that there is a space for everyone to grow as the business outcomes gets achieved as well.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so important that you brought that up. And I'll go back to, you mentioned earlier the word curiosity. So you've got to be curious about the individuality of your team. You got to be
Yes.
curious about them and have that care factor. And I bring that up because when I was in technical recruitment world, traditionally male dominant as well, and in some instances, I don't paint all recruitment with this brush, not at all. There's great recruitment out there, and I'll never take that away. But in some of my situations, it was very foot soldier mentality. You go on the phone, you ask them what their job title is, what's their salary, what's their daily rate, what's their availability. But for me, inbuilt somehow, not somehow, it just is there within me. I had this curiosity. I found, and this is really silly now, and I think back on it, but I found this whole big, massive document that had all the acronyms for tech, CRM, ERP, everything, right? A to Z of it. I bookmarked it. And every person I spoke to, I made it part of my habit. And what I do is to research what they do and where they can go and what other roles could open up for them. So that was just an inbuilt thing within me. And people around me did not like that. So I used to get gossiped about, picked on, because I went outside of that foot soldier mentality and I was a high performer, right? And what happened was, coming into the leadership side, I then dropped off as a high performer. And the assumption was no one asked me questions. No one talked to me. The assumption was, oh, she's dropped off. Oh, she's tired. Oh, she's probably burnt out. There was just so many assumptions. And what they didn't realize is at the time, and I'm going a bit deep here, I had endometriosis. And I would go to the bathroom for like 45 minutes and I would come back because I was in agony. If people don't know what endometriosis is, it's agony. And I'd come back from the bathroom and I'd get reprimanded for being away from my desk for so long. So I started questioning myself. Am I not consistent? Am I not a high performer? Is this my fault? And I decided to take care of that situation because maybe that would make me better and I would be consistent then. So I was like, okay, I've got a solution because that's me. I'm a solutions person. And I was like, okay, I can get back on track. I'll get it removed. So I had an operation, got it removed. And when I came back, what I faced was I was being performance managed out. And not only that, but someone stood up in the middle of the office, a guy, and said in front of everyone, it was an open plan office, when are you having kids anyway? Isn't it past your time? Right? So because we were that environment of banter and that's okay, and no one would challenge it, everyone laughed, including women, because that was the environment, right? It was accepted as normal. I even accepted as normal. But what people didn't realize, I went home that night and cried. And I just felt sick in my stomach and felt there was something wrong with me, right? I'm going to not get emotional now because this is actually about you, Shivangi, not about me. But what I'm coming back to is you saying that you listen and you actively listen, because there's a big difference. People say, I'm a great listener. But when you're a great listener, you're not listening to respond. You're actively listening to this person and what's showing up for them and how can I help them, right? And of course, there's a fine line between allowing these people then to have excuses, right? There's a fine line of this is showing up for them and there's an excuse after an excuse. And it's up to us to figure that out and understand that. But there's another side where when you ask the questions and understand the person, it's bigger and it could be personal and it could be something that you could really help them get through. And on the other side, they'll be so loyal to you. They'll be so loyal to you because you did that for them in a time where they were lost and confused and they know it's within them. But instead of people recognizing that, they decided to tell me I was inconsistent, I was burnt out, and I was like, am I? I wasn't. I loved what I did. So just wanted to put that in there. So it's that curiosity, that care factor, and that listening that you have mentioned, Shivangi, is so important.
And thanks for Sharon for being so strong to share your journey. And I would disagree that this is not about me. This is about both of us. I'm learning as much as you are from this. So I hope everyone does the same. But on that note, I also want to say that yes, that was a past. But right now, in some of the companies I have worked, there's a conscious effort for bringing more awareness around female like menopause, perimenopause. What are those? And how does that impact females or genders who go through that at work as well? So I think there is a shift happening, but it's a small shift. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to share so that our listeners and you rest assured that at least few of the companies I have worked, I've seen that. And I have been on both sides, Sharon. As your experience, when I was in India, I have seen where when I'm going through PMS, how I'm being reprimanded, to working for my last boss, and who was a male. And I shared with him something, and he just empathized. He said, I don't know how you do it. So for me, I think it's more of I've seen both sides, and I've seen like how much it impacts when someone as your manager comes and say, I hear you and you've got my support. So I think for me, I hope that we can create a magnet kind of a thing that the culture gets amplified.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. And I think the upside here, I will tell you, is it prompted me to design a program specifically for women in these situations. So I have a leadership 12-month program, but it's not your blanket, group leadership.
Yeah.
It's individual, and it touches on perimenopause, menopause, all of what comes up for us personally, so that we don't have to leave our leadership journey, that we know there's other ways, there's other perspectives, there's other ways to look at yourself, particularly as well, because I hear some women are now finding out they're neurodivergent as well. And that's something to just embrace and accept and love about yourself. And I think it's the perspective and mindset shifts and that come into that journey that I've designed as well. So yes, I went through these journeys and
Yeah.
challenges, but look what it's prompted me to do to help the individuals. And I collaborate with a retreat in the Great Ocean Road, if you know, in Victoria, and it's
Yeah.
the Great Ocean Road Resort. I collaborate with them because they too don't just do retreats, they do customized retreats. So for example, they have a mom and teenager retreat. They have a menopausal retreat. So it's just for you individually. And just for me, for Tech to Exec, my business, they collaborate and have an exclusive package where they design it specifically to that individual's needs as well. So I've gone kind of above and beyond because of my experiences, because it's not just a program, it's well-being, it's the holistic approach. And I've also collaborating with a award-winning photographer in Australia for personal branding, because that's another aspect of us in our executive leadership roles and our visibility now, right? It's becoming a huge aspect of what we have to do. But how can we do it in an authentic way that we're not overwhelmed by it? It can be fun and joyful, and we can get in touch with the modern version of ourselves and accept it, neurodivergent, perimenopausal, new parent, like to be able to embrace that instead of fighting it is just the most beautiful journey to be on instead.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on then to crossing cultures, right? So you moving from India to Australia is no small leap. So personally and professionally then, how did that shape your confidence, your communication, and your leadership style?
Good question. Because it's very rare you get asked that question, that moving from India to Australia, it's not about making a move, it's more about completely two different cultures, society cultures, and even the work cultures. There's a drastic difference. So I think when I made the move, I think the first thing that happened to me was I had to take a career step back. So that was a huge shock to me, because in India I was doing a tech lead role, and over here I didn't have any local experience or a market experience. So it was very hard for me to get into the industry. So I had to start from being a developer. I think that was the first kind of a eye opener kind of a moment, that okay, I have got this, but I need to start from scratch. But I need to cover up the lost time, because I wanted to really grow. And it was not someone was pressurizing me, it was just my own willingness and my own aspirations to grow into the leader I wanted to be back in India. And the other thing which happened was that in India I was surrounded by familiarity. I knew about the culture, I knew about, we all look the same, right? So all of a sudden you are going to a country where it's not actually the same. You're going to have more diverse people. And it took a while to understand that I'm still part of the culture and the country. And initially, I stayed very quiet, because I thought that I don't have the right accent. My ideas might not land the same way because, yes, I speak English, but it's not the same accent. So my vocabulary is not that big, right? So whether my ideas are landing the same way as some of my other peers or teammates in the team who were presenting the ideas as well. But I think over the time, these were just initial stages when I was getting set up. But over the time, I realized it's not about the loudest voice in the room. It's more about that whether you're speaking with clarity and conviction as well. And it's more about, do you know what you're speaking about? So I think when I realized that, it helped me build that confidence to be in a room, to be able to do my work and go through that growth journey which I've had in last 7 to 8 years. And eventually I learned that I need to blend both the worlds because both the worlds are very beautiful. Like Australia, coming to Australia is a very collaborative and such a diverse country. And in India, it's more about humility, it's more about the drive that I need to do this. So I think I just try to blend both of them rather than changing myself as a person because it's very hard to change as a person, right? Because I grew up there for like 35 odd years. Sorry, I'm giving away my age now. But I think it just shaped my communication style, but also made me more empathetic as a leader because of our experiences. Now, when someone new comes to my team, I'm more empathetic towards it. I'll make sure I care, as you said, and go an extra mile to ensure that they are set up for success. And I got that by way of my mentors and my teammates, etc. So, yeah.
You have a beautiful outlook. And it's wonderful that you have changed the challenges where you decided, I'm embracing both cultures. And of course, right? Why do we battle it? But I respect people who don't yet understand. It's a lot of preparation, support, work on yourself. And I go through this with women day to day in my coaching sessions. So I respect it. I never take away how hard it is to reprogram yourself. And I know it's no mean feat that you have done your hard work on yourself and now you're paying it forward. And it's beautiful to see that you're taking what you've been through to now help others. You sat in their seat, you've worn their shoes, and you're able to be more empathetic to what they're going through. I think it's a beautiful outlook.
Thank you. I try.
You more than try. So let's move on then to leading through change and empowering others. So we've touched on
Yeah.
that a bit. But let's talk more in detail now. So when the things get messy, deadlines, restructures, transformation fatigue, how do you bring your team back to focus and purpose?
Yes, I think my recent last 1.5 year work was all about change or a business transformation project, right? And when we go through such transformation projects, it's things are messy and there are tight deadlines, there's a transformation fatigue, and it's no, and I think change is the only constant, as I say, that in any business. Restructures, if someone asks me, would we have another restructure? And I'm like, I don't know, but it could be just around the corner because change is the only constant in a business and nobody can guarantee that what we do today, we are going to do the same next year. And the classic example of is when COVID hit. Nobody was working from home. But as soon as it hit, we all started working from home and it worked. But as soon it got over, we are back to where we started. And now it's challenging, right, to go back to what we did. So I think when things gets messy, be it tight timelines, restructures, or fatigue, any kind of fatigue, like a transformation fatigue or deadline fatigue, my job or how do I approach that is bringing the team back to why we are here, bringing back the visibility of the purpose. Because one thing I have learned myself and I have observed that purpose anchors people. That if you articulate the purpose, what's in it for the business, what's in it for them, and how we can achieve those outcomes together, that anchors people together. And other thing, when things go messy, what I try to do is that I try to show up in a very calm honest, and a human way possible. I don't look that I've got all this. In last 1.5 years, I have had moments where we were going in a straight line for a delivery, and all of a sudden we were doing like a F1 race, up and down, roundabouts, etc. And I could feel it as a leader. So what I did was I actually sent a message to all my team members that if you are feeling this, I have felt the same. So you're not in on this alone, because sometimes feel like, oh, is it just me? So it's more about if you say that you are in this together, that starts a dialogue. People don't talk in a hush hush voice, people talk openly about it. And that becomes like everyone is supporting each other. Because I truly believe that how, as a leader, we show up, it sets the emotional tone for everyone else. So for me, it's more about how do you show up? And I'm not saying that if you're tired, don't look tired. Please look tired. But please be very vulnerable in sharing that, hey, I had a bad night. I have a teenager. My mornings are very rough. And I'm very honest with my team. And I've got feedback from some of my counterparts over the years that you care too much. But I've got the similar feedback from others that caring is your best asset. So everyone has their own leadership style. Nothing is wrong or right. It's more about I'm here to share mine. So I think caring about people, bringing the purpose, being your real authentic has helped me lead through the change and ensure my teams feels empowered. And when everyone is in doubt, I try to bring humor or just be real myself, because sometimes a shared laugh, a coffee, and openness just resets the energy. And that is much more powerful than just doing a all hands meeting. So for me, it's more about accepting things never go linear. And we can't live in denial as leaders that everything is fine, even though things are messy. So it's more about acknowledging, and it's more about bringing people back to purpose.
Yeah. And it's clear and it shines through so much that you are a leader that's honest, transparent, no fluff, straight talker, straight shooting. And I think that's so admirable. I think when someone is like that around you, you can do nothing but trust them.
Yep.
Because when someone is direct with you, you know they're not going behind your back talking about you or blaming you, because they're straight talking up to your face that, oh, yeah, there could be another restructure around the corner. Yeah, there could be another transformation around the corner. I love the way you put, we went from a straight line transformation to Formula One. That's fantastic. It's very clear that that's the type of leader you are, and it's wonderful, very purpose driven. I'm going to throw you a curveball question then, because you're also a leader that leads with care. Okay. And what's the balance of people, and this could be men or women, but in my experience chatting to women, where they get trapped in a level of their career because they're the caring. So how do you find that balance where what I'm trying to say is that you're not taken advantage of, A, by your team, that you're too caring and that they take advantage of that, or that top level, what's the balance there? Because obviously that doesn't get in your way and we can see that. But for people where it might get in the way for their climb, what's your advice there to keep the balance?
That's really a curveball question. I've never thought about it. But I think you can care but still deliver business outcomes, because you can't deliver business outcomes if you don't care for the business. So everyone cares about one thing or the other. What I do is I care about people and business outcomes both at the same time. Yeah. And I try to balance that out. And if you're only caring about people and not the business outcomes, then your senior management would see that you are not ready to move up, or you can't climb the ladder, because as you go up you need to have that fine balance of ensuring that you are able to lead the team to be able to deliver the outcome, but you are delivering the outcome as well. So if you're just caring about people and just prioritizing their growth but not the business outcome, then my humble perspective is your people can't grow then, because you need business to grow to be able to let your people grow. So that's one. And if you're just caring about business but not about people, then your business is not going to grow because your people are not growing. So for me, they need to go hand in hand. And some cases you need to care about business more and tiny less about people. And in some cases, when there is a demand, when there's a situation, you need to care about people more so that they can drive the business outcomes. As I said, people are the anchors. People are the heart of any business. And if you invest in them, business is going to thrive. So it's about the fine balance. That's my outlook. That's my advice would be. It's more about, if you are not caring about people and just about business, maybe a time to reflect that, is it working? And if it's not working, what you can change in your culture. And I think this culture starts at the top. And I have been fortunate that I have had leaders who care about people and business, and the companies who care about people and business at the top. And that transcends towards the bottom layer as well. So I think if companies want to strive, then to start caring about their people as well. Sorry, I don't have a diplomatic answer for this
That
because
is
it's very hard.
great advice. I mean, I threw a curveball at you, and that is absolutely spot on advice. And I hope our listeners can just take that and run with it. It's fantastic. And the other thing I would say is yes, you can be caring, but when you know your authentic self and your self worth, you also need that balance of boundaries. So
Yes,
you can be caring, but you can also have your boundaries. And I guess this is something that comes up in my sessions as well, is that conflict resolution. And some people just bury their heads when it comes to conflict and just ignore what's showing up for people. But you should face it with them and really get to the bottom of it, and don't shy away from the conflict aspect. And I think when you are able to tap into yourself, you're naturally able to understand, okay, here are my boundaries too.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yes,
there's a fine line between being a good caring person and, oh, I've got boundaries.
yes, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
being able
true.
to showcase that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get some Shivangi wisdom then. If your younger self, that developer in India, was listening to this right now, what's the one piece of truth or advice you'd want her to hear?
Mm, it's one advice, but I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to divide it into three. So, first is like, you belong in every room you walk into. Don't try to shrink yourself. Then, once you do that, then stop seeking validation. Once you have entered the room, you don't need to seek validation. You don't need a permission to be a brilliant. You can be your authentic self. And once you have got that, just be your own cheerleader. There is a whole world out there to bring you down. Don't do that to yourself. So I think for me, I would tell my younger Shivangi, if I can go back in the time machine, is these three things, because I think I learned these three things over my journey, and I didn't start with these three. And finally, noise will come. People will have different opinions about your success. They're going to question your success. They're going to try to define your worth, that you're worth this. But just keep working hard, keep your integrity high, and be kind. Because that's how, I think what you have shared, your bias and my bias, that's how we went through that, just keeping the noise on the side.
That's powerful. I think you also just gave advice to my younger self, to Shaz. I think you've just given my younger self, the Shaz younger version, some advice
Yeah.
too. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shivangi, for being here and for your raw, real, transparent, direct shooting self. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
No,
you. Of
thanks for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
course.
So thank you. I had a really good time.
Good, good. And to you listening, I hope this episode gives you the little nudge you need to start picturing yourself in these leadership roles. Remember, these roles are not out of reach. If today's chat sparked something for you, pass it on. Let's get more women seeing what's possible. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next episode and what's coming up. Until then, keep challenging the status quo and be the change you want to see. See you next time on the Mic with Shaz.